a lot of anger and upset, and absolutely right that there has been a very strong reaction to the story of the 11-year-old Simonstown Primary School learner Lifa Tumbasana, who walked home to Kiewit from Simonstown. It's a very, very long way to walk for an 11-year-old, for anybody, after being denied boarding on a Golden Arrow bus service because of a lost ticket. And we do know that very immediately after becoming aware of this, Golden Arrow did suspend the driver. But Bronwen Dyke-Beyer, who speaks for Golden Arrow, joins us now. Bronwen, good afternoon. So the almost immediate suspension, and what else? What other action has Golden Arrow taken?
Good afternoon, John, and good afternoon to your listeners. Yeah, look, I think this is an incident which evokes a very visceral reaction for all of us, and nobody wants to imagine this happening. So, as you said, as soon as we were notified of what happened, the driver was suspended immediately because he had broken one of our rules. And obviously now that disciplinary process needs to play itself out. This rule is covered in training. It is in the DBD, or Duty Bus Driver Guidebook, but we are now obviously looking at ways to make sure we can communicate it more regularly with our drivers to make sure that, this never happens again.
Any contact with the family?
We have been in constant contact with the family. Counselling is being offered and will be arranged, but yes, we are in constant contact with the family.
What has been the nature of that contact? Is there an understanding growing that this action does not carry the approval of Golden Arrow?
Yeah, I think, we mobilized as soon as we found out on Monday night, and one of my colleagues was at Lifa's home just after he was found to explain exactly what was happening and to find out if Lifa was all right. And so we have been in contact ever since. Obviously, parents are very emotional. Everybody is very emotional. But we have obviously tried to explain from our side that, this isn't our policy. We've assisted to replace the card, offering counseling. So I think the mother is still very, very angry, and that will probably take some time to pass.
Okay, just talk us through the communication that you have historically had with drivers around the issue of people saying, I've got a ticket, but I've lost it, whether they are adults or children. And then once I've heard that, we can talk about how you're going to do it slightly differently to try and avoid something akin to this happening again.
Absolutely. So once, obviously drivers or people who want to become drivers go through quite intensive training at our training center, where they learn how to use our automated fare collection system, etc. At that point, they are taught this rule. And I think it's very important that we make a distinction here. If any person, any adult gets on a bus and says, I've lost my ticket, please help me, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to assist. That is not possible. But we have created this rule for minors to make sure that in that case where there is a child who is vulnerable, that we do assist them and make sure that they do get home safely. So it is taught, it is in the rule book that every driver has. But and we've got a lot of drivers making decisions all of the time, and this driver's obviously made the wrong decision. So all that we can do now is look at reinforcing the communication, sending out constant communication, having notices up, trying to share it more regularly through meetings and whatnot. But it is a rule that's in place, and unfortunately, this driver made this very wrong decision to not assist Lifa.
How long has the driver been part of the Golden Arrow driving corps?
I'm not sure exactly how long, but he isn't a new driver. It's been a few years.
Okay. And has there been a conversation with him at which he tried to explain or defend his action?
So that will obviously form part of the disciplinary process where he will explain what happened, and there is a whole process that will have to play out there. He'll be able to represent himself, and then that will play out.
But he has, to your knowledge, not offered an explanation as yet.
He has had brief discussions with my colleagues, but obviously can't share what has been discussed.
Why not?
Because it's part of the disciplinary process.
But we want to know, and I think we need to know, given the nature of the incident.
Well, the driver at this stage has just confirmed that he didn't allow the boy to board the bus. Hasn't provided a reason why. He just didn't allow the child to board the bus. And when he has representation and whatnot during his disciplinary process, he will obviously then offer some kind of idea of why he did it, and then the disciplinary process will unfold. It would be very difficult for me to preempt it or to share information that he shared now while the process is still unfolding.
People are telling me that there's no way he should be allowed to keep his job, and I know that you are going to say that that is the duty of the disciplinary process, to come to what it believes to be an appropriate sanction. But is dismissal part of a range of options for an offence like this?
Absolutely. There would be a range of sanctions depending on what happens in the process, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That is why I'm saying I can't preempt it. We have to let the process unfold. There can't be any me saying this is going to happen and then somebody says, I've unduly influenced the process. So let's let the process play out. There are a lot of rules in place. We have very strict disciplinary policy. We have policies for afterwards if somebody doesn't agree with what's happened in disciplinary, et cetera, et cetera. So he has been suspended. The process is going to unfold. We are taking this extremely seriously. And unfortunately, I can't tell you yet what is going to happen, but the process is in place.
Bronwen, thank you very much. Appreciate your making yourself available. Bronwen Dyke-Beyer speaks for Golden Arrow. This young boy deserves a bravery medal, says one person. Why does Golden Arrow not offer subsidized rates for scholars which are not valid over weekends? The driver should not be suspended. He is carrying out policy. Well, Stephen Bronwen has made it quite plain that he is not. He was not carrying out policy. It is not policy not to allow a child onto a bus when that child says the ticket is lost. Is he on paid suspension? I would presume that he is on paid suspension. I think South African labour law is quite plain on this in a situation like this. Well, let me phrase it slightly differently. My understanding of labour law is that there have to be very, very extreme circumstances before suspension on unpaid leave becomes procedurally fair.